Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, here with my brief thoughts on Jackass Forever. This was directed by Jeff Tremaine, who directed the previous Jackass movies, and I don't think I really need to go into a plot synopsis. It's Jackass. You know who's in it, you know what's going to happen. My experience with Jackass is very limited. I know who they are, but I have never really seen any of their work. All that I really knew about them was that Steve-O once got into a wrestling match with Umaga, and it did not end well for Steve-O, let's just say. Though, does it ever, really? When I started seeing the trailers for this, I think in 2020, it's a little fuzzy, but when I started seeing the trailers, I was like, guys, what year is it? Because I remember the last movie coming out in 2010, and I was like, okay, it's clearly over now. But clearly not. I saw the trailer in legitimately every movie that I went to from late 2020 up to the present day. The same trailer of We Will Meet Again by Johnny Cash, and then going into the same footage. I would physically groan every time the trailer would kick on. And when it finally got delayed again fairly recently, late last year, I was like, I don't think this movie's ever going to come out. It's going to be like Death on the Nile. But then it was announced that it was coming out the first week of February, no matter what. And I was up in the air about seeing the movie. However, I recently joined Banana Meter. Shout out to them. Thank you for having me. And one of the first movies that we were all set to watch was Jackass Forever. And so I started to hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. And then the reviews came in. And they were surprisingly great. Even Matt Zoller Seitz from RogerEbert.com gave this movie 4 out of 4 stars. Even he was surprised. Legit, the first sentence in his review was, yes, really, 4 stars. Even he was surprised, as I'm sure he was writing it. So I went into there with a good amount of optimism. And, yeah, the movie is a really good time. I should say straight up, though, that this movie is not going to be for everyone. It is incredibly stupid. But my God, I laughed, I cringed, I turned away. It was just so much fun. I think what I like the most about this movie is just how open and honest all of these guys were with just the source material that they were going to be producing. They weren't looking to produce high cinema. They were going to cause each other pain, and lots of it. And wow, I did not expect to see so many other man's packages today. From what I have seen in interviews, Johnny Knoxville, Steve-O, and Wee Man specifically, they all seem like really nice guys, and they're all in on the joke. And so in that regard, I give them all the credit in the world, because my God, some of the things that they go through in this movie just look terrifying. There is a scene where Johnny Knoxville gets legit run over by a bull. He gets tipped over by a bull. It's in the trailer. And he gets a pretty bad head injury in it. And considering what we know about CTE, that was honestly one of the parts where I was like, oh no. There was a lot of other things related to that, but that was the one where I was like, oh God, I hope he's okay. And of course, that's just tipping the iceberg. There's the one with the big hands, like they do with Steve-O and Machine Gun Kelly. Eric Andre gets in on the action, and his is pretty funny. His was one of my favorites. There's this one guy, I think his name is Andy. He gets punched in the fruits by Francis Ngannou, who, just for context, is one of the best heavyweights in the UFC. And yeah, I felt it in my, and I wasn't even there. I guess I was just in awe of the creativity on screen. The last thing that they do in the last scene of the movie, I dare not spoil, but let's just say, you think it's going one way, but then it goes a completely different way. If there's any ones that I didn't like, there was a couple involving snakes, and that's really due to me just hating snakes in real life. I'm kind of terrified of them. Like, even fake snakes are kind of that to me. And these were like genuine rattlesnakes, and whenever they were on, I'm like, yeah, you couldn't pay me to do that. I guess if I had to get super nitpicky and say there was a thing I didn't like about the movie, is that some of the skits were a little too short, and so they're on for like maybe a couple minutes and then they cut away, and it's like they fade in and then they fade out, and it starts to get noticeable a time or two. And maybe it's because I'm not used to Jackass and their formula, but it just kind of stuck out to me. It's like, oh, we're on for 2 minutes and then they're out. Like, they use a lot of fade-ins and fade-outs. But at the end of the day, this is one of my favorite movies that I've seen so far this year, and I've only seen like 3 or 4 of them, but this is my favorite one so far. This movie has an honesty about it. It has a straightforwardness about it to where it knows exactly what it is, what it's trying to convey, and goes full bore in on that. And in that regard, I kind of love them for it. It's kind of maddening to see movies just try and be so many different things all at once. This thing is just one thing, and it's excelling at just this one thing. It's very admirable, like I mentioned. I'm going to give this a great rating. I did not think I would be giving it that high of a grade, but those are my feelings. And legit, when at a certain point in this movie, I was thinking to myself, you know, I'm pretty sure that the stunts in here are going to be more realistic than those in Uncharted. But that is all for me. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. Do you have a favorite Jackass moment that I might have missed? Not just in this movie, but maybe in the other movies or the series? Leave it in the comments. I'd love to look some up and maybe educate myself. Also, I will be covering Moonfall, and that should be dropping on sometime on Sunday, so stay tuned for that. If you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below, and if you like this video and you want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button and click the bell to allow notifications. That way when a new video drops, you'll be the first to know about it. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.